Okay, fair enough. Let me, we got 10 minutes. Let me give you a couple of, I want to say some further things about Marx. Jordan did a nice presentation, and I will say more after today. This is just a couple of follow-up points. But Marx, as we've talked about before, is heavily influenced by Hegel. What he doesn't like about Hegel is he is too ethereal, he's too idealistic. It's something like the same critique we found in Feuerbach. And so let me add to my little list that I gave you yesterday. Great artwork here, by the way. We said Hegel is a dialectical idealist. We said Feuerbach is a nominalistic materialist. And now Marx, got your eye on the ball, likes both of these guys, but wants to improve on them and regards himself as a dialectical materialist. That's Marx. Avery.
Why would he reject the idealism of Hegel if his idea of communism is very idealistic, isn't it?
Because ideals are not material. And Marx believes that the dialectic is a dialectic of material forces, labor, capital, money, economics, oppression, war, blood. That's the dialectic, not ideals. Ideas in conflict that are more or less philosophical or spiritual. Hegel is too spiritual. Hegel is too religious, oddly enough, for Marx. Marx is a materialist on steroids. But he also believes and likes in Hegel the notion of clash, the notion of war, the notion of struggle. Yes.
If he likes the notion of war and struggle, how can he have this idealistic society where everybody works together?
Marx is, probably the least consistent aspect of Marx's outlook is this idealistic, utopian conclusion of the matter. He writes as if it's actually out there, but everything in his philosophy otherwise argues against it. And so, the same question that was raised, it doesn't really make sense, because the only way that Marx's wonderful communistic utopia would work is if we all transformed into angelic beings. Up until that point, he treats us all as if we were selfish, vicious, hateful, oppressive, and he has this kind of artificial idea, and I was saying it joking earlier, but I'm only partially joking. He has this idea that if you look out in the world, you got two kinds of people. You've got the capitalists who are bad and the workers who are good. And we got to get rid of those people so that all these people are the ones that are left, and once we free them, they're going to be happy. Well, he doesn't quite allow that these people are as wicked as those people. They just happen to be on the short end of the economic stick, but it's not like they have inherent virtue and these people don't. That's what Marx never quite really resolves. And so that's why communism really never quite works. As Jordan mentioned, he was born into a Jewish family, and as Matt mentioned, his conversion, the conversion of Marx's father, was purely for economic advantage. That was, I think, what nailed the coffin shut on Marx ever having any sort of religious impulse. He became deeply hateful and cynical about all religion when his father, who had been a good Jew, moves to a new community where Jewish people are not treated so well, and Dad, who'd always been Jewish, always done the Torah, all of this, just wakes up one day and says to the family, "Hey everybody, let's be Lutherans, because it's good for business." So you run down, you get baptized Lutheran. Sure enough, people start coming to your stores, people start buying stuff, and Karl Marx is sitting back watching all this and thinking, religion is just a tool of the oppressors. That's all it is. Religion is just one more device being used by oppressors in order to, exploit the people who are in need. And so most scholars on Marx believe that that's where his atheism began. And Marx was a ferocious atheist. He wasn't just kind of a, incidental atheist. That was at the very core and center of his whole philosophical outlook. And many would say that his attack on capitalism, behind the capitalism, was an attack on Christianity. He understood that Christianity is fundamentally a market economy. Labor, production, wealth accumulation based on hard work. He knew that, and that's what he's attacking, is that kind of Christian notion that he calls capitalism.
When he says there should be a revolution where the bourgeoisie get overthrown,
Yeah.
Does he also say that churches should be destroyed?
Churches are part of the problem.
Okay.
Churches are devices used by the bourgeois to keep the workers in line. It's a tool of oppression. He famously calls it the opiate of the people. Religion is the painkiller of the people. But it is for him more destructive than constructive. Yeah.
This is just pronunciation. Is it bourgeois or bourgeoisie?
It's actually bourgeoisie, the bourgeois class. It's the noun and the adjective. So the bourgeois would be an adjective. The bourgeois class, But if you're talking as a noun, the bourgeoisie, that would be the term. Yeah. By the way, the roots of that word, bourgeois, which is French, come from the German word burger, which is a form of food that you eat at McDonald's. But it also is, if I were to grab this, it is the term that came out of the Industrial Revolution, the very early Industrial Revolution, that referred to city dwellers. By far most people in the late Middle Ages lived in a very agricultural setting in the feudal kind of arrangement. Gradually there was the birth of cities. And in the cities you came to get merchants. And the merchants were called, or the city dwellers were called burghers, from a word that means city, in German. And so the burghers came to be associated with the retailers, hence the capitalists, the people that run the shops that sell the cappuccinos and all that stuff that Jordan was referring to. The French for that is bourgeois. So bourgeois simply means city dwellers, in terms of its original derivation. But it came to be associated with this kind of capitalist society. Smoke and mirrors, my son.
Yeah, right.
But I couldn't believe it once on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, back when I used to watch it, when Regis Philbin was running it. And the million-dollar question was, I couldn't believe it. The million-dollar question was, how many miles away is the sun from the earth? And I thought, for $1 million? Man. The guy says, I want a lifeline.
He had a lifeline and $1 million?
Yeah, he had a lifeline. He hadn't needed it.
I've never
The lifeline that he called was his father. He calls his dad on the line and he says, "Hi Dad, I'm on the show Who Wants to Be a Millionaire." He says, "I didn't really need to call you. I just want to let you know, I just won $1 million." He hung up the phone and said 93 million miles and he got the million. You know, so I thought, boy, isn't that great? All right, I will. I'm going to tuck in a little bit more about Marx in days to come as we have chance to. But in any event, thanks, Jordan. Nice job today, and you are dismissed.